This picture right here from the Mount Vernon Police Department was taken when he was named Officer of the Month back in September 2024. Now he's on the other side of the law.
America, that man has a plaque. Mount Vernon Police Department commendment plaque for being one of their finest. But here's what nobody's saying. This detective didn't slip through the cracks of the system. He reportedly walked straight through the front door and left it wide open. The background check said he was clean. A 57-page indictment says somebody wasn't asking the right questions.
We not only charge the shooters, but we charge those who order the violence, those who fund the violence, those who acquire the weapons.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Before we get to the detective, I need you to understand the actual scale of what this gang was running, because the numbers make the weapons pipeline angle land completely different here. The 48 gang set up shop in Riverhead. Prosecutors say their base area was around Oakland Drive and Doctor's Path Apartments area. For 4 consecutive years, they ran armed robberies, pulled off shootings, and buried 2 people. Allegedly here, guys. I got to say that for the YouTube purposes. And the residents living next to this all, they had to absorb every single piece of this. Listen to what it actually felt like to work near these guys.
I didn't think they were gonna catch him at all, and to know now is like it does like give me like a good peace.
4 years of this in your community produces relief that you still can't actually feel clean. And that's not the news reaction. That is a trauma response here, you guys. The same employee, the 7-Eleven employee, woke up to a missed call from a coworker who had just had 3 barrels pointed at him during his shift. He went to go ring up some hot dogs. Shout out to 7-Eleven for them hot dogs. He ended up part of a felony investigation here.
One video from September 23rd, 2024 shows a struggle between a deli clerk and a man armed with a gun. During the violent encounter, the alleged gang member, identified by prosecutors as Demarion Weston, pistol whipped the clerk repeatedly. Prosecutors say Weston and 2 other gang members stole $6,000 cash.
Beat him with the weapon for $6,000. That's the level of violence and desperation with this particular gang. Someone who's certain that they won't have any consequences. $6,000. That's the number. And that kind of brazen on-camera confidence only exists when you know that the supply chain is so solid and your exposure is very minimal. 2 of the people that crossed this gang didn't get to go home at all. Marcel Arrington was 18 years old, and the other, named James, 47 years old, both permanently attached to a 57-count indictment that took years to build. The robberies and the murders are horrifying enough on their own, but here's what blew my mind. Who was allegedly keeping these gang members armed the entire time? Here's your full context on Braunskill before we go any further. He wasn't local to Riverhead. He was living in Southampton, but prosecutors say he had pre-existing personal relationships with the 48 gang's Riverhead membership going back years before they even put a badge on him.
We allege that in the years prior to him becoming a police officer, Braunskill was actively selling, sharing, and coordinating possession of weapons with high-ranking gang members in Riverhead, New York.
Selling, sharing, and coordinating. The DA used all 3 words here, and the purpose that all of them apply to this particular situation. This is prosecutor language for somebody who was active in the gang, operational in the gang, and embedded in the particular supply chain, not some guy who just made one bad decision here. Now check out this timeline, guys.
It is alleged that this conduct continued up until the same month of his appointment as a police officer in Mount Vernon on December of 2022.
December 2022, prosecutors are alleging that he didn't phase out of this life gradually. He didn't have a graceful career transition here. If the prosecution is correct, he literally wrapped up weapons coordination for a Riverhead murder gang and then drove to Mount Vernon to take the oath. Oh, and before Mount Vernon, before he got the badge, he wasn't in retail or he wasn't doing construction. He was a 911 operator for the NYPD, taking emergency calls from crime victims while allegedly coordinating firepower for those same people that were victims on the other side of that phone call. Super dark, I know, guys, but that's what the indictment says. So every question every law enforcement administrator in the country should be sweating right now is particularly obvious. How does somebody with alleged operational history pass a police background check? Mount Vernon issued a statement, and the phrasing here should tell you everything you need to know about where this is heading legally.
Mount Vernon's officials say Detective Kyren Braunskill is on suspended duty police status while the investigation moves forward.
Suspended, not fired, not stripped of credentials. He's technically still on the Mount Vernon Police Department while he's facing 57-count federal indictment, and the department is leaving the option kind of open here. Their full official statement verbatim: a pre-employment background investigation was conducted in accordance with department procedures and no findings were returned. That's it. That was the entire statement. We followed the process, they said, which would be reassuring if the process that they were mentioning actually worked, but obviously it didn't. And now they're hiding behind quote unquote compliance language while prosecutors are showing surveillance footage of the gang's robberies at 7-Elevens. Here's a structural problem that nobody really wants to address. Background checks are built to find documented past criminal records, open warrants, flagged associations in a database. They are not built to find your undocumented network, so we can easily see how this kind of slipped through the cracks. They don't ask who you've been moving guns for if nobody officially wrote it down on a piece of paper. And to be fair, a man allegedly running illegal firearms to a gang would, by definition, know how to operate without leaving a particular paper trail here. Now, here's what people in the community near this particular operation sounded like while this gang was operating undetected.
I was uneasy, like, maybe what if I get robbed,
Prosecutors say the gang primarily operated in the town of Riverhead, in the areas surrounding Oakland Drive and Doctor's Path apartments.
And that person had absolutely no idea that the man who allegedly stocked the gang with arsenal weapons was getting Officer of the Month, and his photo was being mounted on these walls. The uneasy just going to work. That's 4 years of living adjacent or working or being part of something like this. And the gut punch reality is that some of those people might have seen a Mount Vernon PD badge and felt like he was one of the good guys out there with zero awareness of what the prosecutors were quietly building behind the scenes. But here's the part that reframes this entire story. This wasn't a one-time lucky investigation. The DA didn't stumble onto the 48 gang. He was running a coordinated, systematic campaign against the gang's infrastructure.
The DA says this is the third significant takedown targeting gang violence in Suffolk County already this year.
3 in less than 90 days. That is fast and consistent police work. You're not chasing crimes after they happen. You're following the money, you're following the weapons, and you're creating an organizational structure and working backwards from there. And when you follow the weapons backwards far enough, apparently you find people with the badge who were Officer of the Month.
If you are committing gang and gun violence in Suffolk County, we are coming after you.
Apparently includes people who are wearing a badge as well.
8 armed robberies, 7 shootings, including 2 murders, and the possession of 13 illegal weapons.
Every single one of those had a chain of custody. Following that chain backwards is exactly how they ended up with the detective's name in this particular indictment.
Mount Vernon Police Detective Kyren Braunskill, who's seen in this video just a week ago getting promoted, is among those indicted. The 34-year-old is accused of providing illegal firearms to gang members from 2021 to December 2022. According to prosecutors, he committed the crimes just days before he joined the department. During that time, he was a 911 operator with the NYPD.
A 911 operator, the man who crime victims heard on the other end of a phone call, was allegedly at the same time making sure that people who created those emergencies were properly equipped with weapons. That's not irony. That is a 57-count indictment. America, here's what's not going to show up on any official statement or press conference out of Mount Vernon. A standard background check looks backwards. It's specifically not designed to map your network, who you know, who you've done favors for, who's been quietly benefiting from your access and your particular relationships, until police departments start treating the network question with the same energy that they give criminal records. They're going to keep swearing in people the streets already knows better than the precinct does. 13 recovered weapons, 13 points of origin. Marcel Arrington and James Aris deserve answers about those origins long before the 57-count indictment provided them. This is what happens when vetting only looks at where you've been and misses entirely who you've been serving. The plaque is on the wall. The families are still grieving. 2 completely different realities living in the same indictment. Figure that one out. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.